Hello everyone, Richter here and welcome back to another Torchlight Infinite video. Today I wanted to talk about a few changes in the patch notes that caught my eye. Now this in-game we're looking at a character that I played a few seasons ago during the Arcana season. This is a Youga mana stacking Blizzard character. As you may know, the Youga it's a natural auto bomber. It has that inbuilt into his character abilities, and of course this setup is suboptimal at the moment because it hasn't been updated for 2 seasons after the changes and stuff. But what I want you to see here is the amount of mana that this character has, which I'm gonna pull it up here. 23,000 mana with around 1,000 intelligence and 11,000 energy shields. So normally these characters will be built using the whole consume package of mana. Consume package is very good because with the introduction of Kismets, you have the ability of getting damage taken from mana before life in the major ones, which would mean that you could get 100% of damage taken from mana before life. That you would combine with with this one, the mana one, with the gloves, and with a body armor as well. Now, all of this is still an option. However, one of the things that happened in the patch notes is that a lot of the mana stacking gear got its especially mana recovery removed or severely nerfed. So let's take a look at a few of them. So first of all, we have the Undying Faith. Undying Faith, it's something that you would use probably in the early game. What is happening on this one is just basically that it's getting a roll change. Instead of being always +2, always 12 seal mana, it's getting a roll now. So that means you need to farm more to get a good version of this item. Now, in the actual mana side of things, we have Phantom. So you would use Phantom, you would be at full mana. That means reserving basically no mana or just very little bit mana, and getting skill levels for that. So the amount of skill levels that you're getting in total from sealed life is diminished because it used to roll 10 to 20. Now it rolls 15 to 17, and probably with the corrosion you can get to up to 7, whereas you could get to like 8% with the corrosion. And it had mana regeneration speed. Now it's getting maximum mana. So that is one source of mana recovery lost. What I'm not sure is if Phantom is also losing the random aura affix. I hope not, but we shall see. Now, Archmage Hands was hit very hard. This used to have 80 to 100% additional max mana. So basically it would double your mana. Now it will only be 30 to 35%. But I think the line additional spell damage for every number of max mana on up to 100% will still remain. And the corrosion for Archmage Hands allowed you to get more of the max mana, so 1.5 additional spell damage per the same range, up to 150% additional damage. So one of the items that got changed is the Israfel slots, which was the other glove slot that will be competitive here for Youga. In this slot, this used to be 5 to 6 cold damage, now is 13 to 14% cold damage per focus blessing. Mana stacking usually would want to get cold damage because of Mind Infusion. So there is an alternative now. I think with the nerf to Archmage, probably Israel is going to be preferred, at least for this type of setup, but not for the mana consumption level side of things. Now Glacier Caster Shield also got nerfed to make you spend more mana to gain less damage. I think half of the damage, actually, half of the flat damage, and now it's physical damage instead of cold, and it has a maximum number of stacks of 200. So Again, I don't know if the max mana number got buffed, but I don't know if it will conserve the mana regeneration, the skill mana compensation, and yeah, basically I don't know if these two are still gonna be in the shield. But what you can tell is that this whole package of mana consumption is getting blown out of the water. Compensatory life is losing the mana restoration rate is still there, but it used to be 70 to 90, now it's going 48 to 60, so severely diminished. The spell damage per mana spent is going down from 300 to 216%, and then the restoration rate is increased actually. But I think this is the important one, and I don't know if this is a typo or if this is the way the actual change is written, is that you will now get the aura while you are on low life. Now, one of the things that was very annoying about using compensatory life is that you would only have to reserve 50% of your life, well 49% of your life, to be able to enjoy having the free aura of the item. But now you can go full reservation, which gives it perfect synergy with Phantom. So this is a change that I think it's very much welcome for the archetype. And then the other nerf is Tyrant's Iron Fist. It's going from, yeah, it used to be 5% crit rating, 375 to 150 consumed recently. Now you will have to consume 880 to 900, so double the amount of mana consumed for the same benefit enjoyed. Now, this leads me to think that the way I built the mana stacking archetype would be a decent alternative to the spend archetype. Let's go over the other few changes and why that might be the reason. So we have prefix 1, it's getting changed, so the max mana is getting changed from a prefix to a suffix. Now, why is that good? Because this is what a 1 would look like for a mana stacking. You would go for intelligence because you will have, and now this is subject to change again because we don't know what the trees would look like. You will have this point here, and you will have this point on the slates as well, mana per intelligence. So you would want that intelligence. You will get in multiplicative value. You're getting energy shield per that intelligence, and you're getting mana per that intelligence as well. So it was a very cost-effective bonus modifier to have on your skills, on your weapons, on your items in general. And then you will have flat mana and percentage mana. Now what that left you with is the inability to get skill levels here. Now that wasn't a huge deal for the other archetype because you could use Phantom here and get all the skill levels that you needed. You would get, I think 13, 15 skill levels, something like that. But now a weapon, a mana stacking weapon, would look something like intelligence, flat mana, and the newly buffed spell skill level, which now goes to +3 at tier 1 ultimate and +4 at tier 0. And then you would have, yes, you will be giving up one of these. Additional damage for spell burst is probably preferable to double damage. I don't know, they might come very close, but you will get either off. You will still get the elemental damage, but now you have the max mana down here. So I think all in all, that makes mana stacking weapons better. I think pending to do the math on that one, but you know, I'm not I'm not too good at that. But my guess is that this will allow us to build it that way, so we compensate not having the Phantom here by getting more spell skill levels, which now it doesn't increase the damage multiplier, but it gives us 8% additional damage per level. So that is 8 times 4, that is 24% additional damage. So it's still worse than additional skill cast by Spellburst, but debatable if it's better than double damage, depending on where else you have double damage in, like your rings and stuff. So that is an alternative that opens with this change. The other one is they're adding flat damage rolls to other bases. The good thing here is that they adding flat damage rolls to belt, not flat, percentage damage rolls to belt and rings, and it's an advanced suffix, it's not an ultimate suffix. So this what happened here is that you didn't have an advanced suffix for mana, or prefix for that matter. What you had here is you had this ultimate affix, which was 8 to 10% and skill cost, which was good for the mana spend one, but not good for the other version of mana stacking, which is sealing that mana away and converting all to energy shield from ward, which is where I'm getting at. What you have here then is, it says prefix or suffix. Yeah, it's a suffix. So we will be giving up probably the crit rating here, and then adding, of course this will be changed by +1 focus blessing, which is still preferable, and then adding the increase mana here. And I don't think rings had a mana roll at all before. Like, yeah, you couldn't roll mana on the rings. And let's look at the belts, the options that we had before. So belts had tier 0, had flat mana, but now we also have the option of getting percentage mana on the suffix. So all in all, I think the addition of these mana rolls in several places, we're also getting maximum mana rolls as random affixes in the hero memory, and we're getting medium fates, medium and small fates that provide percentage mana. So in general, I think this way to build the mana stacking archetype is getting a lot of support that it didn't have before. And you know, Israel gets a very massive buff, and this is the one that is pending, subject to change, where how they actually implement this change. It says ward added, makes me think that they are not changing the original effect, just adding this on top of it. So ward, if we take a look at it, how it currently is in Shadow Master, and it's here actually. So 10% of sealed mana as extra energy shield, Now it will have also 10% of sealed life as energy shield. Now we will not be stacking life to get most of that bonus. What we care about is converting all of the mana and just getting that extra little bit of extra life as energy shield. As you can see, what I have here is a ward pedigree, and if we remove this, our energy shield goes down to 7k. This gives us roughly 3,000, almost 4,000 energy shield in itself, and we're not even sealing all of our mana. This is something that I think I had on the other character, but because of the changes in the previous patch, it got changed weirdly. But what you will do is this node as well. Where is it? There is one that is getting its mana cost completely removed. Cost no mana. There you go. So Frozen Lotus. Let's look at what Frozen Lotus does currently. I think it's here in Arcanist. There. So 25% additional cold damage and minus 100% additional mana cost when mana is lower than 15%. What Frozen Lotus will do now is that this line is getting changed to basically skill cost no mana. So we early on we're gonna build into Frozen Lotus. Mind Focus doesn't really become very good until you have, I think, above 15,000 mana is when it's better to get the flat damage from Focus Blessing rather than the multiplicative value you get from them. And one thing that is going to change too is that in Magister we'll probably have to choose between Bunch and Play Safe. In Knowledge we'll still have Beacon and we'll still have Insight. I don't know, I think Chili is still in this category, and then on Magister we have to choose between Bunch and Play Safe. Now as a Spellburst build, there's a new Spellburst helmet, by the way, for you. Yoga 1 or any other spell burst character. This one, so you get 25 to 35% additional damage, and you get 100% upper limit, which means the stacks are gonna be doubled. So for instance, a character like this is running around with 5, so you will have 10 spellburst stacks, but the speed at which you get those stacks is severely diminished. Now there is one of the new crafting, I think it's called sequence crafting. There's a sequence crafting that basically gives you this part of the Surging Inspiration helmets. Where's it? It gives you this part, 50% chance to gain all stacks. Actually, I think it read all stacks of spellburst immediately. Now that's gonna be very far into the end game. This crafting is probably gonna be I think the base cost of the attempt is like 500 FE, so don't expect that to be available early in the game. I think you will still build into Surging Inspiration early and then switch into that helmet with the crafting modifier later on. Now, why I think this will be better built on Yoga 1 rather than other characters that might still be good with spellburst like Thea 3 or the Gemma 3 as well, is because the automation medium activation medium spellburst is getting nuked out of existence. Let's read the change here. So it used to be minus 20 to 20 additional damage. Now it's minus 25 to 5% additional damage. So you're losing 15% additional damage for spellburst skills. Is it good? Is it usable? I think it's still usable. I know. I think Gemma 1 also played a few spellburst builds. But if you want to automate, maybe what you will go for is you would build this character on Yoga 1 and then switch to either Thea 3 or Thea 1, Gemma 2, or even Gemma 1 could be good with it. Once you had the currency to get a very a tier 0 rolled activation medium spellburst, and then you I think get much better use out of the focus blessings with the reward that Thea 1 had. And you know, Gemma 2 is always very good to play. So what would this look like? Basically, you will get mana wherever you see that you can obtain mana. You will put mana into it. This character has 23%. Archmage Hand is giving basically half of that, as you can see, 11,000 to 23,000 just from the gloves. That getting nerfed completely to 35% will make it so this glove slot is no longer set in stone, although this bonus is very hard to pass on. And even without Archmage Hands, you will see that we're still above 10,000 mana, which is more than enough to get 100% of this bonus. You need at most 10,000 mana to benefit from this, even at the worst roll that you can possibly get. So it will probably be very difficult to not use Archmage Hands. Now, this is going to be a Watcher, a Glacier Abyss Watcher drop alongside the Glacier Caster Shield. I think before this, we can check this immediately. This used to be a global drop. So the fact that it's target farmable now, alongside Surging. Now Surging is super rare. I can imagine the gloves are going to be super rare, but they are target farmable. It means that if you're playing this build, you will park yourself in Glacier Abyss once you reach T8 and kill that Watcher as much as you can until you actually drop the item. And then you can do all the other shenanigans of, you know, you reserve all your mana. Your skill costs no mana, so you can reserve 100% of it. You can get all of the extra cost multiplier here reservation skills. We can use the new focus skills, play around with them, which I think they're gonna be a ton of fun and a ton of power for the characters. And yeah, I think this might be a very good contender for a character to build this league. Now, how would you level Yoga 1? I think you go like chain lining. You can basically do Ring of Ice got buffed slightly, so maybe I did Blizzard with this one. Blizzard is getting changed. All of the like bombardment skills are getting like nuked because of Carino. But this support is getting its additional multiplier changed to 25%, I think. This one will no longer give you plus waves, but it will have more additional damage. Carpet Bombardment will no longer give you damage per wave, but it will just give you 20% additional damage to skills. So yeah, Blizzard is not gonna be the choice here. Most likely it's probably gonna be Ring of Ice, but there might be other options like Lightning Storm and stuff. So I think this is a good one that could be. I would really like to play this character, but it's pending to see how much mana we can get on the trees, because if we cannot get enough mana on the trees, if they change that too much, because of the new Thea to of the new Rosa to not make her too overpowered, then this character is gonna be in trouble, because all of your damage and defense is coming from there. Anyway, let me know what you think about this setup in general. I think it will be a decently interesting way of building around. Now, yeah, I cannot check the kill here, but I think this character made it to like level 17 by the end of Arcana, 17, 18, and the gear isn't what I would call max. I barely have T0s on this gear, and I don't even have the focus blessings, which you will know when you're playing like the mana stacking character. Getting the +1, +2 focus blessings on the ring is one of the biggest upgrades that you can get. I was using the barrage scaling shenanigans. That is pretty much gone or changed how it works. But in general, yeah, you can see this isn't min-max gear by any means, and this one didn't have any trouble at all with Profound. Once I got the ward set up with the mana recovery stuff, with the energy shield recovery stuff, this character didn't die anymore at all. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on this, and I'll see you in the next video. So after recording this video, some new information got dropped by the team. A few patch got updated, a few patch notes got updated, and we got something fairly interesting for mana stacking, the mana stacking setup that I was discussing. So first of all, Surging Inspiration now has an internal cooldown. This will probably apply to the enchant that will be provided by the weapon as well. I don't think it is a huge deal, just puts a cap on how much damage you can realistically obtain from this. Then the other important one is this change to Mind Focus. The damage has been changed from granting cold damage to granting physical damage, which means you're no longer obligated to play a cold build. You can play whatever element you want, and the effect that grants Focus Blessing has been changed to grant 1% of mana to both attack and spells, instead of only 0.8% of max mana. So quite a big buff to mana stacking in general. This is of course because they want the new Rosa to be as overpowered as possible. It's no secret, right? So let's take a look at the TLIDB information for the passive tree that I would consider taking for this character. So it's probably gonna be Magister, Arcanist, and then either Prophet or any of the other options. I think Lich is quite compelling. Same thing about Warlock, and even Ranger might be decent. So Goddess of Knowledge didn't change too much. You still have the option of picking Beacon and Insight here. I don't think that's going to change. Skill levels are still here. Focus Blessing, max Focus Blessings here. Now the Energy Shield restart at low Energy Shield status is now here. That's pretty good change. But you know, we have to be more scarce and more strategic with the way we spend our talent points now. Now let's look at the other trees, because this one's present a another option. So here we have to choose between play safe and punch. So play safe is probably gonna be the early game choice before surging inspiration. Then bunch might become an option. Barrier of Radiance is also here, and same thing about Shell. I don't think Shell was taken too much, because you know, there was not much point of just getting rid of all your life for the extra energy shield. It's quite a bit of extra, yes, but in general I don't think it was very compelling to take that. However, Barrier of Radiance is a very good one. You can get this on a candle, so it's not a huge deal. So it boils down to maybe taking either play safe or bunch in a belt enchantment. Now regarding the passives, I haven't looked at this yet, but we have some mana regen speed here, the usual energy shield block. This remains the same, cannot be interrupted for 1 second, pretty good for defense. Then damage taken when energy shield, increased damage when energy shield is charging, that remains there, percentage hint. And spell crit damage per focus blessing. So yeah, for the most part this tree remains, you know, again compressed, but all of the core talents that you wanted to grab from this are still here. Now let's look at Arcanist. This is the mana talent, and again here you have to choose between mind focus and mana. 12% additional max mana versus mind focus. The option here is probably going to be also this one. Adds 1 max energy shield for every 50 mana consumed recently. So basically, as you consume mana, your HP pool becomes bigger. That's gonna be something interesting to play around, because I think this potentially could lead to situations, if this doesn't have a cap, this could lead to situations where you have an insane amount of energy shield pool and you don't stack like base ES at all on your gear, and then you just get it from this. I don't know, it seems a little bit weird that they wouldn't put a cap on this. But you have very compelling choices here. Full load is a decent amount of damage. Mind focus only becomes good after you have a fairly decent chunk of mana. I would say around above 12k or 13k mana, and you have like 6 or 7 focus blessings at least, and then for the meantime you can just take the mana talent. And the usual suspects are here. Damage taken from mana before life is an option to be taken here. You from what I could understand, you can get 100% damage taken from mana before life between gear and talents now. This increases the consumption. This mana per int still there. Seal mana compensation. I don't believe we had this before on this talent tree. Then spell damage at full mana, crit rating, mana regen speed, mana regeneration per second, and you know, mana. Then Prophet is the cold tree, and here is where we have the option of using Frozen Lotus. This is what I suggested was going to be like the setup that I would go for, is Frozen Lotus plus the other, and instead of going for the mana spending shenanigans, you just stack as much max mana. And then so we're looking at 1, 2, 3 and 4, right? Now that leaves us with having to take Ward as still a pedigree or a belt enchant right now on the Lich talent. The Lich talent is very good because you have off the beaten track here, you have Ward, and then you have sealed mana compensation of this tree, and you get a little bit of max mana here as well. So it's not a completely terrible tree to take as it is. You get maximum energy shield, you get like blur, shenanigans here, skill effect duration, cooldown recovery, and +1 to all skills. Now there's something I want to talk about. Let's first review this one. What else was added? So damage taken by frozen enemies, more frostbite rating, intelligence percentage. damage against frostbitten enemies, physical damage conversion. This is going to be necessary because of the aforementioned change to mind focus that gives physical damage instead of cold damage, assuming that you want to actually play a cold build. But that is no longer mandatory, which opens the avenue to the skill that you want to play now. What I want to propose with this setup is that before I knew, I discussed how the changes to skill damage effectiveness was going to be reflected in the game. So let's take a look at something like Ring of Ice. Ring of Ice is an anomaly because its damage effectiveness got buffed. So what I could understand from this is probably a bug. I think damage effectiveness will still grow with level up to level 20. It will not remain 142 the whole way through. If it does, then this spell is the absolute best spell for leveling, with the most damage and the best mechanically as well. If it doesn't, then it's still a very good option. But what I want you to look at here is that we're losing both the damage effectiveness growth and the base damage for spells from spells level. Now, as I mentioned, this wasn't a big deal for weapons, for attack skills, because attack skills didn't have a base damage growth. They only had damage effectiveness. They lost that, but I think spells went from like gaining 25% additional damage per level to only gaining 8% damage per level. So this is a huge nerf to spell builds, and that I have to combine with the fact that the new skills, the new focus skills, don't affect spells at all. They grant additional attack damage. Yes, they allow you to hit with cold damage, but the buff itself is not gonna grant you any damage whatsoever. It has a huge damage effectiveness though. So what I don't know is if you can gain focus points whatsoever by using spell. It says spell here, so that probably means that it scales with spell skill level. But in general, it's pretty sad to see that they went this far to they went all the way to basically demolishing spells in favor of attack builds because the new hero is an attack hero. But you know, it is what it is. With that information, I probably wouldn't recommend league starting at least this character. It's an interesting setup to explore later on in the league once you have the currency to build up into having large amounts of mana. But with all of these affecting how spells are scaled, until we have further information, I would say just don't start this one. And if you do, you're warned. It's not gonna be smooth sailing probably. All right, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of the day.